皆さん、グローバルコンピテンシーの時間がやってまいりました。第4回目。This is the fourth lectures of global competency model. And then, because of the COVID-19 spread, we need to make it on-demand lecture. So you see, can you see this letter, everybody? EGYPT, Egypt. So, are you knowledgeable about EGYPT, Egypt? I don't think so. 皆さん、エジプトについてどのくらいご存知ですか？私はエジプトに1回しか行ったことがありません。エジプトに行ったらですね、Did I ride a camel? ラクダに乗りました。楽しかったです。ピラミッドにも行きました。楽しかったです。皆さん、でもこんな楽しいことばかり言ったってあまり人生は変わらないですよね。今日はですね、皆さん、グローバルコンピテンシーで前回のバングラディッシュですね。We will going to study together about Egypt to understand what is competency in Japan, what is competency in Egypt, with the facilitation by Moino sensei.
Hello.
Moino, if you want to say something.
Thank you. So nice to see you again. So today we are going to talk about one African country, which is Egypt. So in the previous two lectures, we talked about one Asian country, Bangladesh, and I think that you guys already have some fundamental knowledge about the competency about Bangladesh and Japan. So maybe from today's lecture and the next lecture, so you will be much familiar with the African country, Egypt, and what is the competency of Japan and Egypt in this regard. So in today's lecture, so we have a original Egyptian guy to give you the demonstration about the Egypt, and in this class, so we are going to basically introduce the very fundamental things about the Egypt.
Just the initiation of Egypt to understand competency in Japan. By the way, how many Egyptian people exist in Kochi Prefecture?
The people that I know, maybe three, me and two other people.
Where are they?
No, two of them are in Kami actually.
Alright. 皆さん、高知県には3人のエジプト人しかいないそうです。そのうちの1人を私たちが今日紹介できる。もう2人どこにいるかっていうと、上キャンパスにいるそうです。Alright. Nice guy. I will invite today's lecturers. Shaheen Mustafa, please come.
How are you everybody? My name is Mustafa. I am from Egypt. I came to Kochi maybe 3 years ago, and I am doing my PhD under supervision of Professor Kotani. And today I'm going to talk about Egypt and what is, over the course of 2 lectures, I'm going to talk about what's the competency in Egypt and what is the difference between the competency in Egypt and what is the difference between Egypt and Japan in terms of the competency and the global competency. Before I start, I would like to give you some basic fundamental information. When you hear the word Egypt, what comes in your mind? Some of you will say Rakuda, some of you will say pyramids. So this kind of things for sure exist in Egypt, but not all Egypt is like this. So believe me, I see a camel maybe 3 times or 4 times in my life, not more than this. So most of the time, we don't have the camels in front of us all the time. We don't have the desert in front of us all the time. I will give you a little bit of different image about Egypt from my perspective as an Egyptian.
Egypt is a very big country, right?
Yeah.
So how big is Egypt itself is?
Egypt is 1 million kilometers square.
So how many times compared to Japan?
Compared to Japan.
Maybe you can show the pictures, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
So compared to Japan, how big is Japan? I don't know the size of Japan in kilometers.
Actually, I rigorously doesn't know.
Oh, so Japan maybe.
But much more larger
Yeah.
than Japan.
At least the land
In the-
size.
in the land
the land
size.
size will be much more larger than Japan.
まあ、
Because Japan-
この皆さんの我々で話してることで言ってるのは、まあ、とにかく土地の広さだったらエジプトの方がむちゃむちゃでかいということですね。はい。ほら、please go ahead.
So let me show you my slides, and my slides is just like an image.
Show us slides.
Yeah. Okay. No, I have the USB, so it's fine.
Okay, that's good.
So let me show you in the beginning, where is Egypt? Where is Egypt located? This location is very important that play a role in the Egyptian competency. And I will go to show you why, maybe at the end of this lecture and maybe in the beginning of next lecture. So Egypt is located here. This continent called Africa, if you know. Let me write down. Where is it? This is Africa, and this is Europe, and this Asia. So,
Many people name it easier for Japanese people.
really not taking this
Very big.
because
This is like a Middle East.
yeah.
Yeah.
This
I understand.
entire this part until maybe even Turkey. I don't know Turkey is
Turkey is
Europe.
Europe. So.
Yeah, they consider it Europe, but and Russia. This entire is Asia. This entire part is
Yeah,
Europe.
Asia is like in this direction.
Yeah.
Japan is in this direction.
Yeah. So all this part is Asia, all this part is Africa, and this part is Europe. So when we look at the location of Egypt, actually Egypt has a very good location around the world in the sense that in the ancient world, most of civilization happened around this area. That Egypt was the center of very close to Europe, and it is also of course it's connected to Africa by land even, and connected to Asia because it is even we have here they say this part is part of Asia. So Egypt can be considered very center in this big three continents. And
So you have the connection, land connection in the Europe and Asia.
Yeah.
So it can be used as a very good route to transportation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that is one of the good competency of
Yeah,
the
that's what I will talk about
Africa.
and I will show in the maps in the next maybe few slides. But just look at the location and how this location might be very good in a sense that we are connected to Europe, connected to Africa, connected to Asia.
皆さん、日本はどこにいるかって言ったら日本こっちのこっちの端ですね。でこのマップはそもそもエジプトに焦点を当てるためなんですが皆さん分かりますね。エジプトというのはアフリカ、アジア、ヨーロッパのこの3つの文明がぶつかり合うちょうどここにあるわけです。でですね皆さんエジプトに行けば何が分かるかというとですねまさにその文化の衝突をですね目の当たりにできるいろんなものがね感じ取れるわけですね。でね、皆さん非常に面白いのは日本っていうのは非常にアジアした国なんですよ。でアジアの中でも端っこでね文化は非常に順化されてるんです。順化とはどういうことかというと閉じられた世界の中で日本の文化というのは連綿と昔から引き継がれた一つの川の流れのようにできてるわけなんですがエジプトとか中東とかあとは中央アジアですねウズベキスタン、キルギスタン、タジキスタン、アフガニスタンとかその辺はですねまさに、人種と文化のルーツまでっていうのは全てが衝突し合ってる文化が衝突してるから顔の見た目も目の青い人もいればアジアっぽい文化も考え方もあればヨーロッパっぽい考え方もあってですね建物とかも本当にいろんな文化がぶつかり合ってできた建物がたくさん見られます。でエジプトはそのいろんな文化がぶつかり合っているその象徴です。 エジプシャン・シビライゼーション。
Yeah, you should.
皆さん歴史勉強、世界史勉強した人は分かると思うんですが、まさに、エジプト文明が生まれ、いろんなですね逸話が残っているのもエジプトの特徴です。ワリザ運河、スエズ運河なのがカナル、What's the famous
スエズカナル。
スエズカナル。
Suez Canal, yeah, Suez Canal.
でスエズ運河という有名なですねカナル運河もありますし、いろんな意味でモンスターカさんがそこら辺も紹介してくれますのでよろしくお願いします。
Okay, so as we see the location, how this location might be very unique in the world, and this may be what you have an image when you see when I say about Egypt. I'm from Egypt. You might think that Egypt is all desert. That's maybe correct in a sense that we have. Let me show you the next picture. Okay, let me erase this because this might be not appropriate. So in Egypt, this area, let me mark it for you because it might not be that clear. This is Egypt. This area is Egypt from here to here. So this entire area is Egypt. And Egypt, 95%, as you can see, all this part and all this part considered to be 95%, which all this part is desert, and only this green area around the river is the area that Egyptian people are living in. So Egyptian people living only at 5% of the Egyptian land, which is this land considered to be 1 million km square. So the Egyptian area is 1 million kilometers square, and the Egyptian people live only in 5%, which is around the Nile River here. And why people live around the Nile River? All the civilizations, or all the ancient civilization was built around the rivers, because around the river there is a fertile land. People can agriculture, people can grow their crops, and people can settle down. So why ancient Egyptian civilization occur in the past? Because this area is very fertile. Even we have desert around, however this only small area of Egypt is very fertile, and the Egyptian people try to agriculture this area around the river.
Could you translate?
Japanese?
Japanese. Japanese.
はい。じゃあ今ワスタバさんが発表したなぜエジプト人がもともとこの辺で住んでるのか、そういう説明が一応あるんです。だからこの辺りが誰も住んでていないです。で、あとはこの辺りでもここでも住んでるんですけどね。で、大体住んでないところがエジプトの大体95% ぐらいのところでは誰でも住んでない。そこはもともとデザート、砂漠を。でも住むのが川の近いに住むの人が多い。なんで言うとその川と近くのところが農業のためにが結構良かった。
Nile River, no?
Nile River, yeah.
The central line is the Nile River.
Yeah.
So this right hand side is simply sea, no?
This one I am just putting the
boundary.
Boundary, yeah. This is the boundary.
And then this
So this
line,
is
center
Nile
line is the
River.
Nile River, yeah?
Yeah, it is going this way. To be clear. Yeah. So this.
Okay. まあ皆さん、はい。まずここに国境があります。で、ここに国境があって、イスラエルここ？
イスラエルここ。
ヨルダン。
はい。
でですね、ここ、まあエジプト人がこの広大な土地に住んでいる割合というのは 5% で、ほんのこのナイルリバーね。まあ皆さんのご存知のナイルリバー、ナイル川がここに流れてて、でこうやってスプリッティングとナイルリバー、ナイルリバーっていうのはこの2つに分かれて、この三角地域にナイルデルタ、ナイルデルタというやつで、ここのごく一部に川に沿って緑があるところにだけ人が住んでいる。こ これがエジプトの特徴で、他の 95% は砂漠だからもう人が住めない。でもこのナイル川に沿って文明が発展していた。まあこの土地の形態から言っても随分と日本とは違いますよね。はい。
So over this 1 million kilometers, Egyptian population is 102 million. So Egyptian population is 102 million people, live only in a 5% of the land. So you can imagine that there should be a big density of people, especially in Cairo. In Cairo there are maybe, this is Cairo. So Cairo there are 20 million people live in Cairo. So which means that Cairo is considered to be one very dense city, maybe not compared to Asian countries, yeah, Bangladesh or something, but it's considered to be a very dense city.
So 20 million people live in the
Cairo.
Okay. And actually Egypt is 2.6 times larger than Japan.
2.6 times.
2.6 times larger.
Mm.
But in Japan, I think the population is more than
120 million.
yeah.
Yeah, so it
you
is-
can see
Mm.
that although like a very big country, but only 20 million.
No, in
people
20 million
live
only
in
in
this
Cairo,
area.
yeah, in Cairo. But the number of population, 102 million
I see.
people. So this is the population.
So this is still compared to
Yeah,
Japan,
it's Japan less.
is smaller.
Yeah.
So the population density is much less compared to
Compared to Japan, for sure. Yeah. So, but the density might be higher in a sense that
In
we
the
are
Cairo.
living only we are living only in 5% of Egypt.
I
So
see.
might be the density is higher in this way. So when you actually, if you see the night view of Egypt, you will find only this area is the light and the rest is dark if you go by plane or something in the night. So okay, let me go to the next slide. Okay.
You can erase
Okay, yeah, I will erase. To give you an idea about what Egyptian people might eat or what Egyptian people might have a kind of cultural food, what kind of food Egyptian people might eat? So one of the, we eat a lot of, how can I say, cereal and a lot of beans. So we depend on beans in the breakfast usually. So this is fava beans. I don't know if people know fava beans or not, but
Mame.
yeah, mame.
In Japanese mame.
Yeah. Fava beans. This is fava beans. This is our staple breakfast. Usually we eat this in the breakfast. And this is falafel, called falafel. This is falafel. This also we eat it with fava beans actually in the breakfast. And this is very delicious in the sense that it is like this one. It's like tempura, like Japanese tempura. We fry it and we eat it with usually with some vegetables like tomato and pita bread.
Yeah, but this tempura is made of
Of green vegetables plus fava beans.
I see. じゃあ皆さんエジプトの本当に美味しな伝統的な食べ物。これはもともと野菜のペーストと、あとは豆も入れて、あとはこういう形で油で天ぷらみたいにフライして作ったやつ。美味しいですね。
美味しい美味しい。とても美味しい。これもthis one also we have in this one we have all the kind of carbs, rice plus macaroni plus mame plus this mame. I don't know what is the name of this in Japanese or in English. And maybe onion and maybe some chili sauce, all mixed together, and it is a kind of one of the. This is might be the national dish of Egypt, called kushari.
I see. spicy.
It's spicy, bit spicy. Yeah.
I see. It's because the chili is there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
皆さんこの食べ物はちょっと辛いやつ、辛い食べ物。ここに唐辛子の写真もついてるからちょっと辛いなんですけど、彼が言うのが美味しいです。ぜひエジプトに行ったら食べてみてください。
はい、お願いします。皆さん。So this kind of food usually we eat it. This one, especially this one, we eat it in lunch. We don't eat it in breakfast. So this one and this one we eat it in breakfast, but this one usually we eat it in lunchtime.
じゃあこの2つが一応朝ごはんの時と、これは昼ごはん
昼ご飯
とかis it dinner for us?
Maybe.
で昼ごはんか晩ごはんの時はこの食べ物が一応食べるやつ、これは朝ごはんの時が食べてる。
So this kind of food we usually eat most of the days. Maybe this I might eat 5 days a week, and also this maybe once a week or something if I eat. So usually it is our staple food to eat beans, fava beans. So let me go to the next slide and tell you maybe something a bit interesting in a sense that
Okay. Today's purpose of lecture is
no, just I'm giving them a picture about Egypt and how Egypt is different than Japan. So just a different kind of, and at the end of the lecture I'm showing them how the location of Egypt is playing a very important role. This is Arabic language. So I want to show them that Arabic.
まあ皆さん今日のねグローバルコンピテンシーこのエジプト第1回目まずはエジプトのオーバービューをですね、理解しましょうということで、いろいろ紹介してくれますが He will explain what is a competency in Japan and a competency in Egypt as well.
Yeah.
Please
So
explain.
one of the main things that I will explain at the end of the lecture how this location difference between Japan and Egypt make Egypt have a very good competency, especially in the economy and in the route, in being in a hub among all the countries around the world.
So, the transportation.
Yeah, transportation. So let me also tell you, I'm speaking Arabic. My mother tongue is Arabic. So what I talk and what we write from this to this. So usually you will find me, if I'm writing my name, I will write my name in this way.
すげえなおい
So this is my name in Arabic. So it is like kind of totally opposite than Japanese language and
ア
Egyptian.
メイジング皆さんアメイジングなレターだと思いませんか見えるよねこれすごいね
So this kind of difference, actually I was learning Japanese, and when I learned Japanese I started writing like the strokes writing like this, and the teacher telling me no not like this, it's like this. And for me it is always like writing from the right.
From the right to the left.
Yeah.
まあ皆さん、まず、モスタファさんの、母国語、エジプト人の母国語アラビア語、アラビ Okay, could you please introduce how many countries speak Arabic as a mother
Yeah,
tongue?
we
皆さん
have
アラビア語ってそもそもどのくらいの世界でどのくらい使われてるかっていうのをモスタファさんが説明します。
we have 22. Countries speak Arabic. So the mother tongue or the main language for them is Arabic. So and actually they are very close in location to each other. So maybe from the next time or this time or at the end of this time I will show you how they are connected to each other in land. So these 22 countries have the common language Arabic, have a common religion Islam. So all of them are connected by Islam and connected by the language as speaking Arabic. And also, what we can say, they are connected in the culture as well. So culture among these all countries, you will find them eat the same food, wearing almost the same dress, having the same dialect and the same communication. So that's usually as a kind of tie between these 22 countries.
So can we say that this common language for 22 countries is also one competency for the Egypt?
Of course.
Because once you go to any of these countries, you can easily communicate, and if you want to do the business or any other activities, this is much more easier.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, the Arabic is one of the official language of the United Nations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this is much more convenient. Even the United Nations documents also come in the
Arabic,
Arabic.
yeah.
So this language is also a competency for the
So
Egypt.
Egypt and the Egyptian people. So actually, language is one of the main advantage that all the Egyptian people or all the Egyptian the people who are living in Egypt have advantage to go to Arab country and work there. So many Saudi Arabian and other Arab countries have a lot of oil, if you know Saudi Arabia, and they have a lot of jobs. So many Egyptian people can easily, without even want to learn anything, you just go to the Saudi Arabia and work there.
I see.
So you can translate this because
Interesting. じゃあ皆さんちょっと面白い話が今モストさんから聞いて、ちょっと日本語でちょっとだけ発表しますね。エジプト人の言葉あってアラビックです。でこの世界の22国ぐらいで同じ言葉が使ってるんですよ。だからエジプト人がこの22国にいろいろ話とかあとはビジネスとかそのいろいろ関係で本当に便利と言っています。あとはゆえんの一つの言葉としてアラビックが使えるからだからゆえんでもいろいろ書類とかそれもアラビック語で使えるからそれもエジプトの一つのコンペテンシーかなと考えています。はい。
So, as we said, like, yeah, one of the things that can be considered as a competency is the language. And another thing that is Egypt also famous for, and maybe Egypt many people come to Egypt for, is the tourism and the attraction areas. So we have a lot of attraction areas beside the pyramids and beside this kind of things. Of course, you know the pyramids. I will show you the pyramids because this is one of the most famous things. This, for sure, you know, this is the pyramids, and this is the Sphinx. And if I say Egypt anywhere, everybody have the same image about Egypt. Sabbako, pyramids, or maybe Sphinx. And this is a very good competency in Egypt, in a sense that many people come to see this kind of attraction area because this is one of the old world heritage and all the world marvels that still exist until now. This is the only one that still exists until now. There are seven world what? Seven world what? Wonders. Seven world wonders. And this is the only one still lasts from the seven old world wonders. And this one, the middle pyramid, was the tallest pyramid or the tallest building in the world until the year 1566 or something like that. So around this year, they built one building in Europe. They become the tallest building. So this building, for around 3,000 years, was the tallest building in Earth. Yeah, this is BCA. Not BC, no. Not BC. After, not before Christ, after Christ. BC. D what? BC? AD. So, it stayed for 3,000 years, the tallest building in the world.
皆さんいろいろ Google で調べてみたらこのエジプトのこのピラミッドの歴史がもちろん出てくるんですけど教えてくれたいことがこの世界のワンダースって探してみてください。セブンワンダースってセブンワンダースの一つのはこのピラミッド。でもこれだけは今残っています。もう他の6階はもうこの世界からもういなくなったからこれは本当に大事な歴史として 海外からでも世界からいろいろ国から毎日いろんな人がこれ見るためにはエジプトに行くんですよ。
So, and that's one of the things that makes Egypt has also a competency, and we will talk about this more from next lecture. The how they build the pyramids and how they build this kind of great structures, it's still unknown until now. Many people have a hypothesis, many people have a theories, but how really they build it, nobody knows. And the problem is that this gives a kind of mystery about the Egyptian civilization, and that's why many people want to come to Egypt just to see how great these people are.
Probably there is some meaning for the height of these pyramids, right?
Yeah. There are a meaning of the height and the meaning of how they are pointed. They are pointed at the North Star. All of them are pointed at the North Star.
So this is very scientifically
Scientific
built
build.
infrastructure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
probably the highest one is for the emperor,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And with the smaller one is for the queen, right? They allocate something like that.
Queen and this may be small one, but this was other kings.
Other kings.
At different,
So
different
this is the
times.
main emperor, and this
Yeah.
is for the other kings,
Yeah.
and this is for the queens. So
Yeah, yeah.
they organize it this way.
So that's one of the things that many people or many tourists come to Egypt and they think that how these people build this great structure over the history, over the long period of history. So this can be considered as one of the things that also give the Egypt a competency and keep the Egypt some kind of different than Japan. That the mystery about the civilization was one of the things that people are still wonder how these people were great and how these people built this kind of buildings.
まあ今モスタファさんがお話ししたのはですね、まあ皆さんも大体英語で分かってるかと思うんですが、日本と違うのはですね、実は日本の文明、日本の文化というのは意外とですね、時代によってずっと引き継がれて、比較的どういう歴史的経緯をたどって日本人が今のようになったのかはよく知られているんですが、例えばエジプトの歴史はですね、実はエジプト文明がどのように生まれたのかとかですね、どうやってピラミッドがこんな砂漠のど真ん中に作られたのかとか、いろいろですね、ミステリーが多いようで、そのミステリーから生じた学問分野でエジプトロジーという学問もあるぐらいなので、非常にこの謎めいた過去を持っているのがエジプト。日本のようにですね、過去の歴史がずっとたどって一連の流れで分かっているような国というか、逆に珍しいと言えるかもしれません。But Mustafa, did you explain about how people created pyramid?
No, but the main idea is that until now it is a kind of mystery and it is a kind of a different theories. Everybody have his own theory. So nobody know really how they build it.
But
However-
you explained before.
Yeah. They have a
Hypothesis.
theory. They have a theory that they bought the stones like this and
Blocks of
yeah,
stones.
stones and they make a slope and they make on the slope by each rule. And they say it takes like 20 years and they build it. And then they build one pyramid only of them.
まあ、例えばこの1個のピラミッドを作るのに大体20年かかると言われていて、まあなんか大きな石をこうなんていうんですか、こうスロープを作ってこうみんなで押すとか、もしくはこう水、You say ship.
Yeah. Ship from the south of Egypt.
うん。
They get this stone is not from in the north of Egypt. It's the south of Egypt. They get the stone
Stone.
from the south, In the
carry it through the Nile.
the Nile, and they put it in the north. And in the north, they start to move it from the Nile to the.
例えばですね、エジプトの北の地域にこんなでかい石はない。そうするとエジプトの南の方からでかい石をナイル川に沿って持ってくる。で、船で持ってきて、で、その近くにまで来たらスロープを作って積み上げたんじゃないかという説があるんだけれども、まあ実際には本当にミステリーがたくさんあるということをモスタフさんは言っています。これ、日本とエジプトの違いですよね。
And this one thing is very famous, and I think
Most Japanese people know.
yeah, most Japanese people know. And when I talk to any Japanese person, what you know about Egypt, they usually telling me like, oh, I know the pyramids, or I know maybe Rakoda, or I know something like that. So that's the mystery, I think, that makes them very famous. So one more thing, that Egypt only not famous about the pyramids or the Sphinx. Actually, Egypt has a lot of other attraction places like the Nile River. So the Nile River is, let me remove this.
How old the history of Egypt?
Egypt history extend more than 7,000 years. I will go depths next lecture about the history, but this lecture I'm just like try to give a overall picture about everything. But in next lecture I'm going to talk in details about how the history of Egypt has evolved, and how the history of Japan has evolved, and how this long history long history and the changes in the history make the civilization was mysterious and make the people want to know about this civilization. So next lecture I'm going to explain more about the history of Egypt. So let me talk more about the attraction. So also other attraction places in Egypt, maybe the Nile River. This is the Nile cruise. It is like very famous. Many people try to have a Nile cruise in the river, and some people also like to have the Red Sea. We have the Red Sea called the coral reefs in the Red Sea. I don't know if you know. Maybe it is not obvious.
And the color of this river is
Very blue.
blue.
Yeah. So this coral reefs is very famous in the Red Sea. They call the Red Sea because of this coral reefs. This coral reefs is very red. That the sea itself looks a bit reddish, not very blue or green. So, and this Red Sea full of coral reefs, and that's why many people come to Egypt to make snorkeling. And also in the Nile River, it is very blue. So many people enjoy even to have the Nile cruise in the night in Egypt, because these kind of things are very unique experience to have in Egypt. You can see the desert around you, and then you can be in the Blue Nile.
As you mentioned earlier, so this water is very important for the agriculture, right?
Yeah.
This water is sweet water.
Yeah.
And this is very good for the agriculture and the irrigation.
Yeah. So actually, because as I told you, as I say in the beginning, all civilizations are built upon the rivers, and because